got some powerful stuff to share with you, and then I will open it up for question and response. We will have various question and response periods throughout as well, some pauses along the way. So let's get right into it. I will share my screen with you once again, and hopefully you can see my screen, maybe see me up in the corner, and look at that, already jumped ahead. Hey, come back here, come back. There we go. Okay, so the Vibrant Life Activation. Welcome, y'all. We are literally in this time together, crafting abundance in health, wealth, and spirit. You'll know more what that means soon enough. And mahalo here in Hawaii means thank you. And I am from my heart saying thank you for being here. Thank you for being interested in creating more vibrancy in your life and being more of a light in the world. And I know there are millions of other things you could be doing right now. So I take it as a precious honor that you have chosen to invest this time with me. And it really is an investment. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. And my promise to you is that I will make it worthwhile. Whatever you paid to be here, I will wait, you didn't pay any money, did you? Hey, but you're paying with your time, and that's more precious than money. I will absolutely guarantee you that this will be well worth your investment in your time. That depends on one thing, though, and that depends on you committing to using this information. So here's my request. I implore you, say yes to making a commitment that not only will you hopefully be entertained, not only will you hopefully learn something, the commitment is that you'll actually do something with that. You'll take what I share with you and take out, and leave whatever doesn't work for you or whatever, but take something from this, at least one thing, and boom, apply it in your life. Like say, I'm going to use that and actually put it to use in your life. So if you make that commitment, I guarantee you're going to be thrilled that you came here. So will you make that commitment in service to making your life a masterpiece? And let's be real. I want to be honest here. I cannot promise you that in the next hour, everything in your life is going to change. I can promise you, though, if you apply what I learned, you will make a significant difference in your life going forward. And we have to be honest and know that the road to mastery isn't one step. It's many steps along the way. So I'm sure that you wouldn't be here. Like, you already love learning and growing if you were here. But please be aware and know that part of your commitment is, I'm continuing on this path. This will be it'll be a quantum leap forward, and the path continues. All right. So let's make sure we're on the same page here today. And the page today is our agenda and who this is for, why I might have something valuable to share with you about this. What on earth is he even talking about with this Vibrant Life Activation stuff? What does that mean and why does it matter? As well as the juice of it, the core of what I am sharing with you today. It's super profound stuff. And the core is broken up into A, being, B, the Supreme Self Sacrament. Whoa, what does that mean? You'll find out soon enough. It's got two parts to it, and I will break that down for you. You will get it today. And C, vibing up, what does that mean? Well, that's how we apply this stuff day to day, where the rubber meets the road. And then lastly, in the core of the program today, we'll get you the success factors that happen to all begin with C. And then if you would like some help to implement this, to really ramp your life up to the next level, I will share with you an offer that I put together specifically for you. This is a program that I created years ago and have evolved a lot over the years. And I'm very confident that this evolution of it is by far the best thing I've ever done. So if you're interested in that, please stick around. I hope you'll stick around even if you don't think it's for you, because you will learn from that as well. And then we will have time for your questions. All right. So the big question is, who's this for? Well, it's for you if you are someone who's already successful, because it's impossible to succeed with what I'm going to share if you are strongly in a victim stance. And it's probably not you, but we'll just make sure. If somebody is in a victim stance, it's all happening to me, It's very hard to create greatness. Our friend Zig said it so well. You don't have to be great already to get going, but you have to get going in order to be great, right? So you don't have to be a master. You have to be on the way to mastery. That's who this is for, as well as somebody who's knowing there's more, yearning for the next level in terms of their own life, right? And it takes commitment to do that because change is not easy. It's easier to stay the same. That's why most people do it. And then the last quality of who this is for, a desire to be even more of a light in the world. So if that's you, if that's fitting you, please stick around. If that's not fitting you, you're welcome to stick around. It might not land as well for you. Now, you might already be thinking, because I know I've thought this many times, most people do, like, will this work for me? I don't know. I mean, because I've been to mastery sessions, webinars, classes, I've trained, I've read books. So one of my heroes is, so I got great heroes, and I'll tell you about some of them. Like Martin Luther King Jr., one of my most favorite heroes. Here on the island of Maui, we've got Oprah Winfrey, an amazing hero. There are many heroes I have that you know. There are some, though, that you may not know yet that are my truest heroes, because they are the people just like you and me who have had struggles, who applied what I'm sharing with you today and have gotten results. Ross Adams came to me some years ago. He joined a program, much like what we're doing today. And I didn't know all of this at the time. He told me later it was a group program. But part of what he shared with me later is that when he got there, he was filled with anxiety, depression, addiction, various substances, and fear, to the point that this is not the literal toilet stall. However, it is very much like it, to the point that he literally hid, not for minutes, but for hours at a time, crying in the bathroom stall because he didn't want to face other people in the program. He didn't want to face me. So strongly was he pulled backwards. And one key shift that we made for him in who he's being, who he was being at the time, and you'll know more about that soon enough, because that's what we're getting into today, changed his world phenomenally, right? He now lives in Byron Bay, Australia. It was on an event, actually, that he was with me that he said, you know, that woman I've been dating, Mariana, I want to marry her. And as you can see in the picture, he did. And there are their two sons. Ross is doing so well with his life and his business, and he's a teacher, and he loves being a father. One of my heroes. Now, this little dude, that's me at age about 3 years old. And this is why listen to me, because here's what happened. When I was about 3, I was standing in the front yard of my family home just outside of Portland, Maine. And I looked back in the house. It was like, you know, that image of a wolf gets into a hen house and it's chaos and craziness and noise. And there's just all kinds of dysfunction and pain and suffering going on in the house, which is why I like to hang out in the front lawn as much as I could. One day, though, I'm there, hear that all going on inside, and I look across the street and I see the neighbors, like 2 or 3 of them just at the same time, and they're kind of slump-shouldered and just going through the motions. And I thought, there must be more to life than this. And I forgot about that because job number 1 at the time was survive childhood, which was a challenging thing for me because I was fat, shy, and depressed. Childhood was not a fun experience for me. However, I made it through, right? I made it through childhood, got to the other side, headed out on my own, and I needed a bit more challenge and pain. This is a car crash moment that happened for me in Taos, New Mexico, where I was so lost, put it that way, that literally in this case, it was Friday the 13th of December, very cold in the Taos Ski Valley. I was drunk and I decided it would be a good idea to drive home through a snowstorm. I lost control of the car, went over a snowbank, went up over the other side of a river, like Evel Knievel style, flew over, landed, flipped over, slid into the river. It was flowing through my car, and it was truly a miracle that I survived. That's a whole story I won't tell you now. And someone said later, the spirit of the mountain did not accept you. I was a little insulted by that, but at the same time, I was like, oh, good, thank you. Yes. What I came out of that with, though, is a knowing that there's a purpose. There's a purpose for my life. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it was not an accident that I was still alive. Short while later, I got some clarity on that because God, which is not a word I could have used then, I was quite opposed to religion. God, however, grabbed me by the hair, which was on my head, not my chin at that point, lifted me up and said, there's more to the world than you've been seeing. And y'all, it was awesome. It was breathtaking. I tasted oneness, human potential. It was blissful. And at the same time, it was horrible because I didn't understand what was happening. I couldn't speak about it. I didn't know how to live what I had tasted. And my old life was like blown up in a minute. So when I got my feet back on the ground, one thing became clear, which is I got to figure this out, how to be spirit in human form. So I got obsessed with personal and spiritual development. I didn't even know that was a thing up until that point. I moved to this place called Omega Institute, upstate New York, holistic learning center. We called it New Age Summer Camp for Adults. And I was like a kid in a candy store because it was phenomenal. Some of the greatest teachers in consciousness, spiritual, personal development in the world came there. And I lived there off and on for 6 years, got to be part of it all, learned how to teach in many different modalities, started coaching, working with people in that time. And for about 10 years, all I did was follow that obsession into personal and spiritual development. Went all around the world from teacher to ashram to guru to center to certification course to healing modality. Like you name some kind of healing modality, and I bet you I got certified in it. And it was a phenomenal time. I got to meet amazing people. And while Robert Downey Jr. is probably not the most enlightened person I met in that time, nor is this necessarily the greatest testimonial success story I've ever had, it was still a fun one. And it's another story why he said that in a group, but I'll leave it there for now. Later, at the end of that period, I moved to Bali, Indonesia, where I was so blessed to start an amazing center, to be the solo parent for my daughter, who now is 16 years old. First 10 years of her life, we were there, built this center, had the incredible privilege of serving literally tens of thousands of students and clients in groups and classes over those years. A couple of years ago, I got this book published, The Art of Spiritual Leadership. And now most of my work is as a coach in one-on-one coaching and in group coaching programs, live video podcast. And that's all to say, this is my life. This is what I do. What does it take to create vibrancy, to create an amazing life? I am not the smartest guy on the planet. However, I'd be an idiot not to pick up on some of the patterns that go into creating a sucky life and the patterns that go into creating an amazing life. And today is about giving you the single most powerful core teaching of that. And why does it matter? Is because you matter, because you changing your energy, it matters because you deserve to live the greatest life possible, and you deserve to contribute to the world because that feeds you. And as you grow, as you become more vibrant, so changes the world. It's not only possible, it's not only your birthright. I would say it's your obligation, your opportunity to make your life a masterpiece. And simple definition here, I say abundance means plenty, plenty of vibrancy. But in case that's not super clear, what does that mean? The art of vibrant living, it's the name of my business and all my work. It's also describing a way of living, and it's composed of 7 pillars or 7 layers to this pyramid. Real quick, and what I'll say about this is I submit for your mature consideration that in order for you to have a great, phenomenal, amazing life, you must be doing well in each of these pillars, or moving toward mastery in each of these pillars is another way of saying you don't have to have got it all worked out. No, we shouldn't have it all worked out. We're here to grow. And as I flash through these 7 layers, start thinking about, you may have it already clear, but like for you, if what I'm sharing with you today could produce in you, if you could apply this and create breakthroughs in your life that would make your life way better, in what areas would they occur? And it may be one area, it may be multiple areas. Like, what are the things that are weighing you down or dulling your shine right now? And those are the things to bring in mind to this conversation. You'll get a lot more out of it if you do so. All right. Now, how many of you, by the way, know already that there's more for you in life? If you know there's more, and whether that's more money, more impact, more joy, more love, that there's more for you to experience still in this lifetime. If that's you, if you know that there's more, would you type a yes in the chat? Just say, yes, there's more. I have more potential and I'm excited to live it, right? Does that apply to you? If so, please take a moment. I just want to make sure you're still there. Hello, hello. No, everybody's got it all figured out. Yes, okay. Yes, Vera knows there's more. Yes, hallelujah, there should be more for all of us. What's going on? The rest of y'all, are you there? Are you there? Right? If you have it all worked out, cool. Well, actually, no, I wouldn't say cool because the purpose of life is to grow, to expand. So, and part of why, by the way, I ask you to type something in the chat is because I know that well, it's good for me to know you're there and that you're still awake, right? I don't want your head on the keyboard. But more importantly, if you are engaged and active, rather than this being, Daniel talking and maybe thinking he's funny, telling a joke or two, if you're actively involved, you're going to get way more out of this. And the measure of success here is not just that we pass an hour together, it's that you get really good value and you can use this in your life. So you being able to be active, thinking about this, applying it, that makes a huge difference in your life. All right, so awesome. Thank you for chiming in, those of y'all that did. Larry, I am with you. There's a whole lot more. God is good. God is great. So let's flash through here the layers that make up a vibrant life. Physical vitality, you got to have that. That's the base. Without that, no matter how much money or even great relationships you have, it's hard to be really thriving. Emotional flourishing, the stories we tell ourselves, the states we live in, absolutely essential, as are relationships with our beloved, with our community, with our family, with our friends, absolutely necessary for a vibrant, thriving life. Our relationship with time these days is one of the areas that so many people struggle with and do not have to. Having a great relationship with time is huge, as well as purpose, destiny. In India, it might be called dharma. I love the Japanese term ikigai, livelihood that matters and makes a difference in the world. Financial abundance, it matters too. As Jim Rohn said, money isn't everything, but it ranks up there with oxygen, right? We need that as part of our great life. And the cherry on top, the pinnacle, the top of that pyramid is spirituality, gratitude, and contributing to the world. So again, what does that mean for you? Why are you here? What are the areas where if you had a breakthrough, that would make the biggest difference in your life? And you can type it in the chat if you want, but just at the least to have it clear for yourself. What do you bring to this conversation today? What are the areas that matter most for you? So that as I keep going, we're going to get into the juiciest part of this in a moment, that you'll be able to apply what I'm sharing with you to that specifically for you. So what is going on in your life? What are your challenges? What are your goals? What are your dreams? And if you are a little bit like me, that you think, I got a lot of goals and dreams. I want to make my physical vitality even better. I want my livelihood to be better. I want to increase my financial abundance as well. I want breakthroughs in multiple areas. Then you're going to love hearing about another of my heroes, David Kahoot. Amazing guy. He joined a program like the one I'm going to share with you about in a little bit. He joined that program a few years ago. He originally from Hungary, was living in New Zealand, and he was feeling really trapped in his life. He had a good job. He was as an architect working for a company there. They sponsored his visa. Problem was he was working too much, didn't have time for his passions, the things that he really loved. He was living in a part of the country that he didn't really want to be in, and because they were sponsoring his visa, he didn't see any way out. He didn't have the money to move to the part where he wanted to live. He felt really stuck. So I said, great. Well, apply this teaching and it will work on all different aspects of your life. Create that intention. We worked on that. In short order, in short order, I mean, by the 5th week of a 7-week program, he not only received an offer to live and work at a community in the Coromandel Peninsula, which happened to be the single greatest desire he had, the part of New Zealand he wanted to live in. They offered to sponsor his visa, give him a job, give him a place to live for his wife and himself. He had the space to do what he wanted to do with his healing work and teaching, plus came at it from such a high place of integrity. The conversation he had with his previous employer, they said, would you like to work remotely part-time? So he ended up with all of it in less than 5 weeks. It was phenomenal. His eyes and smile were so bright. It was beautiful to see. So here we go into the core of what I'm teaching you today. And I call this the ultimate technology, right? The ultimate technology. And by technology, and I went and looked up this word and I say, am I using this word right? The application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. Yes, right? And I love that that applies exactly to what we are doing here today. And the ultimate part is that here's my definition of ultimate. This is a technology that is ultimate because it's simple. It's relatively easy to use. There is, it takes some effort and consistency. If you have the intention, though, if you put in a little bit of effort, you'll definitely be able to get it and you'll be able to understand how it works today. So stay with me. And scientific, practical, let's flip to apparently the other side for a minute, the esoteric. As much as I love grounded practicality and science, I also love the esoteric arts. And a great piece of wisdom comes to us from the tarot cards, which really is just a set of spiritual psychological archetypes, right? That's part of the way life works. And one of them is this card called the Magician. And the Magician is the one, and you have this inside you now. We all do. It's part of us. It's part of human nature, part of spirit nature. The Magician is the one that can reach up into spirit, or what quantum physicists call the divine matrix, the infinite field, the field of oneness, right? And again, very scientifically documented that we have this. We're at a very cool intersection right now between spirituality and science. So the magician is the one that can reach up into that infinite potential, right, which exists, you've tasted it, and translate that down onto the physical plane, right? They are the master of creation, and human beings are creators by nature. It's who we are. So one of my teachers explained it to me this way many years ago: magic is only magic until you know the method. So would you like to know the method for magic? It's easier than you think. It's under your nose right now. And it has to do with a concept called being. I'm not the first to speak about being. Being is a core part of us. You might know this phrase, human being. If it doesn't make sense yet, stay with me because I'm going to make it really clear for you. Being is who we are. We are always being a certain way, being a certain something. From our being comes what we say, what we do, how we perceive the world, how others perceive us. You can look at it this way. If you plant an apple seed, what do you get? It's not a pear tree. It's not an orange tree, right? The being is like the seed. The fruits of the being is what happens in our lives. Another way of thinking it is who we are being. It's the thoughts that we have all the time. We all have thoughts going all the time. Some say 90,000 per day, 90% of which are recycled. That is who we are being, what we're thinking about all the time. And if you combine thoughts with emotions, that becomes a state of being. That's another way of saying who we are being. And we can have one that's gloomy, or we can have one that is joyous. Emerson spoke so beautifully of this. I love this. I use this quotation a lot when I'm training people to be presenters, speakers, teachers. Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word you say. Who you are speaks so loud. Who you are is what communicates the most. One of the greatest fundamental truths in human psychology, behavior, motivation, is humans' strongest force that molds us is we must be in alignment with our identity. Where does the identity come from? Interesting thing about that is our identity. Now, of course, you've had people say, hey, you're like this, right? Vera, you're like this. Larry, this is how you are. You're this kind of person. You're that kind of person. And our parents and religion and teachers and what we observed around us, all these things influenced us. But in the end, we chose whether to take those things on or not. Maybe not consciously, but we did. And here's the big news. The big news. Are you ready for it? We get to choose ongoing who we want to be. And y'all know this. This is the law of attraction. This is what it's based on. The concept being in some way that there's an infinite spectrum of how we can be, right? And you know this. You've had days. I know I have days when I wake up and I'm grumpy and irritated and low energy. And I've had days when I wake up and I'm high energy and positive and optimistic and filled with faith and love and purpose. By the way, I've also had days when I woke up like this and created myself to be that. We'll get into that in a minute. But those are all like different spectrums on the FM dial. So on the FM dial, you've got this whole range. And entrainment means when two different bodies come into proximity, bodies, energies, thoughts, they will align to the same vibration. We entrain ourselves to be what we want. So we are the authors of our own life, our identity, our being. And last piece to share in this little section here is to let you know that being is the single greatest, most powerful ROI, which means return on investment, which means if you want to create change in your life, if you want more financial abundance, health, better relationships, whatever it is that you want, the most powerful way you can create that is by going to the source, which is your being. From being, that's like the spring, that's the source of the water, flows down from there. Derivative to being is what we say, what we do, how we see the world. So if we go to the source, we have the most power to affect everything else from there. Now, great example of this, another of my heroes, Nikki, joined the same type of program, different time from David. And when she joined, she was so enthusiastic. She had just finished her professional certification training to be a kinesiologist. And if you don't know what kinesiology, it's a little bit like chiropractic. It's a type of healing work. It's really beautiful work. She was so enthusiastic when we met. She's like, I'm going to build a website and I got to get this calendar thing going and I got to rent an office space. And she was saying all these things that she needed to do. And I was like, yes. Wait a moment, though. And all those things are good and worthwhile. Yes. And, it's, of course, you want to have all that stuff. And highest leverage activity, best investment for ROI is focus on being, or you could say your identity or your vibration, the frequency that you live at. So she did that. She said, all right, let's do that. She focused on her being, her identity. And no kidding, 3.5 weeks into the program, again, 7-week program, 3.5 weeks in, she's like, I don't know what's going on. My practice is filled. Like all the slots that I have open, she was also a mother with young children. She's like, all the slots I have open, they're filled up. She's like, I have to do something different. I think I have to, open up my schedule more, and I probably have to raise my rate now. And all of that was before creating the website and all those things, because she became that. And whatever we are is what we will attract and manifest in the world. So here's the science, y'all. Here's the technology. You are already creating. You can't help it. It's part of human nature. You are creating yourself every day, every moment. And by creating yourself, you are creating your life, right? Let me take a breath and pause. How is this landing? Are you getting what I am saying here? I said it in like 12 different ways. Is this making sense to you? Right? And if you got any questions, oh, is that somebody else made a thumbs up? That's great. Beautiful. Be your own best friend. I like it. Yes, good. I'm glad it's making sense. Yes. Here's the thing, y'all. So important to recognize everybody is creating themselves. And I owe some gratitude to this man, Steve Hardison, who is known as the Ultimate Coach. There's a book by that name that is about him, and he's become a friend and coach to me. And part of my debt to him is that he took this concept of being, which again, it's not a new concept. I've been working with it for years. However, he added an element to it, which for me clicked and brought it to a whole different level of effectiveness, which is what inspired me to share this with you today. And I was so inspired by that, I created a video that's on YouTube. This is the thumbnail from it, and it's called Self-Creation, or the Magic of Self-Creation, the Magic of I Am. And what he brought uniquely, powerfully to this conversation is the concept of a document, by which he means if we were to dissect a human being and look in the mind and see the contents of it, not that we can do this or would do this, what we would find is every single being has a document that is a record of who they are being. Or another way of saying it is all of us have a self-concept. We have a set of statements about who we are. And you can notice them in yourself, and you can notice them in other people. People say things like, I am, fill in the blank. I am wonderful. I am a klutz. I am rich. I am poor. I'm always struggling with this. I'm not a technology person. I am a people person, right? We all have these statements. Guess what? They're true, because if we say them, we believe them, they manifest in reality. That's the law of life. Really powerful. Most people have never considered it, don't know. It's in their subconscious. They're living it out all the time, but they don't think about it. They're not aware of it. So what that means for us, and if you get this, you might watch out that you don't knock your computer over, because you're probably going to jump up and down with excitement. It's so freaking cool. We get to create that document intentionally on purpose. We get to create who we are, whatever we want. You are the author of your life. Those I am statements can become deliberate. And I suggest for you, you do really well to make that a conscious process. So, you know this word, right? Magicians say abracadabra, right? They say certain words and then magic happens. Seems like magic until we know the method. The abracadabra, the word means literally, through my speaking, I create. I create through words. And that leads us to the power of the document, because there's two stages to this. The document, right? This is a symbol from the Declaration of Independence. Who gave the founding fathers the authority to declare themselves? No, they did it themselves. They said, no, we declare that we are an independent country, no longer under the rule of blah, blah, blah. We have the same inalienable right to declare ourselves to be whoever we choose to be. And when we, one, write out who we choose to be, and two, activate that, and you can activate that. It's what I call a manifesto that you create, and the sacrament is the activation of it. One of my colleagues calls this his PTAC, personal truth and commitment document, right? A document that says, this is who I am, some of which is aspirational. This is who I'm creating myself to be. And some of which is flat out truth, basic. I am infinity. I am divinity. Those are 2 lines from my manifesto. And that's inherently true. That's just by nature. I am infinity. I am divinity. There are other ones in my document that are aspirational, meaning I don't always live that, but I'm aspiring to it and I'm bringing myself powerfully toward it. Like I am unconditional love and prodigious patience. Is that always the case? No. And because I have this declaration, this manifesto, I am moving myself powerfully into that. So that brings us, y'all, to a very exciting moment of controversy. Always good to have some controversy, right? In this case, the controversy is this. And if you hang out with people that are into manifestation, maybe new age stuff, personal and spiritual development, sooner or later it's going to come up the conversation of affirmations. So my question to you, you probably know what affirmations are. These statements about who I affirm myself to be. Do they work? The real answer, the truth, is sometimes, but oftentimes not. Because in affirmations, oftentimes what happens is people say, I am beautiful. But then part of them goes, no, you're not, you're ugly. Or they say, I am wealthy. And then part of them goes, no, you're not, you're just barely getting by. Right? Whatever it is, we say, I am this that I want to be. And then another part says, no, it's not true. And here's what happens if that's the case. One, the negative statement undermines that positive statement. And so not only doesn't it work, it actually makes things worse. There's some real clear research done on this that proves that affirmations actually oftentimes hurt people because not only doesn't it work, they end up feeling like a liar, not helpful. So the process of creating a document, a manifesto, personal truth and commitment declaration is important. However, first, one needs to set a foundation. One needs to take care of those negative statements, what we could call judgments about self or self-recriminations. Everybody I've known, myself included, has them. And you could say those are like poop. So if we say, I am this, without taking care of the self-judgment, that is like putting frosting on poop. You can put frosting on poop. Well, you get the idea. Another way of saying it is it's like trying to create something, trying to build a home on quicksand. So that's to say, and we're not going to go into great detail on this today, it is to say, though, an essential, important, absolutely foundational, literally, component of this self-creation process is compassionate self-forgiveness. Compassionate self-forgiveness. And another nod of the hat to Ron and Mary Holnick, who created the University of Santa Monica master's degree in spiritual psychology. They really pioneered this and put the pieces together for a powerful method on compassionate self-forgiveness. And while that's beyond the scope of our time today, if you go on with me and join the program that I'm going to offer you, then we're going to get into that for sure. If that's not a fit for you for whatever reason, then, and you want to go further in this, feel free to reach out to me, send me an email, daniel@danielaaron.com, and I will get you some more resources on how you can go into that process on your own, right? Thoreau beautifully said this: if you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them, right? So if we have said affirmations, if we've created dreams, but underneath there is this self-judgment, it's not going to work. However, so powerful, compassionate self-forgiveness. You can do that. And the essence of it is forgiving ourselves and forgiving the world. Byron Katie and Michael Singer, they both have beautiful methodologies that help with this. It's something essential and something that you can do. It's changed my life in powerful ways, as well as the lives of so many people that I've worked with. Now, here we go into the final stretch, y'all. And in fact, when would now be a good time or a great time to take a big breath in? Take a big breath in. Oh, yeah. Move your body a little bit. As my friend Joseph McClendon said so well, the brain can only absorb what the ass can handle. And you've been sitting on your butt, at least for the last, 40 minutes, unless you're standing up, I don't know. But either way, time to, give yourself a little stretch, move, take another big breath in as we go into the final stretch. And this is where the rubber meets the road, where the axe meets the stump. And this section here, putting it all into place, summarized well by Abraham Lincoln's quotation, if slightly paraphrased: if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. What that means for us is tuning the frequency. It means what in Sanskrit is called pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawing the senses. And in practical terms, what it means for us is a process by which we tune ourselves up to the highest expression of ourself. It's what I call the supreme self. Remember, we said earlier, we all have had this experience where I'm grumpy or complainy or low energy, don't believe in myself. We've all had moments like that. And we've had moments where we are on fire, purposeful, faith-filled, love-filled. Here's the thing, y'all. We can, by working on our being, tune up to that supreme self every single day reliably, with such reliability and enthusiasm that we light heaven on fire with becoming our supreme self by adjusting the frequency, by attuning our being to who we choose, attuning our being to who we've declared ourselves to be in the document. So I call this process the Vibrant Life Supreme Self Sacrament. 2 parts. We create the document, and then 2, on a daily basis, we activate the document. We make it alive for ourselves. Document is foundational. By doing so, we are taking the infinite, the potential, and we are enlivening it, creating it into 3D reality. And as Lao Tzu said it, one of the early masters of Taoism, mastering yourself, and in this case, S with the big S, your supreme self, that's true power. And you have that power built into you. Everybody does. Very few people are utilizing it. So it's only magic until you know the method. Now you know the method. One last way of putting it for you is every day when we wake up, right, we can open a portal, right? Open up in front of us a portal. And on the other side of that portal, if I go through it, I am my supreme self. If I don't open that portal, there are forces, habits, forces in the world, my own patterns that are like pulling me back. It might be as simple as I had a bad dream. There are forces that pull us back into that less than optimal self. However, how amazing and cool is it that we have the power to open up this portal deliberately, reliably, on a daily basis and move through it, right? And it's up to us. Do we go backwards or forwards? Because you've got the technology now. It takes courage. It takes commitment, because once you create the document, everything that's in the way of it will come to the surface. And as Ken Blanchard said, there's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you do it when it's convenient. When you're committed, you accept no excuses, only results. That means every day you open up that portal. Now, what does it take to succeed, right? And again, I'm giving you everything I can in this hour period to give you the optimal chances of success. In case you don't have the capacity to work with me ongoing, I want you to have as much as you possibly can. The success factors, all starting with C. One is courage, because, right, everything that gets in the way comes up. We have to have the strength to go beyond what's comfortable, what we already know. Courage is absolutely essential. Accountability, which relates to commitment, is also absolutely essential, because all things being equal, we will fall back to our old habits. So you must, absolutely must, create accountability in your life. And if you can, work with a coach, afford a coach. I have 3 different coaches that I'm currently working with, in large part because they help me to stay accountable, not to what they want. They help me stay accountable to what I want, what I've said I want. Accountability is massively important. And if you can't afford to work with a coach at this point in your life, one, set the intention that you can, because you deserve it. You might as well. You get great results when you do. 2, find a way to create it in your life now, through a peer, through a friend, somebody that you can be accountable to, and maybe you provide accountability for them. Community, another success factor with a C. Jim Rohn put it this way: we become the average of the 5 people we hang out with most. So hanging out with people that see us as incapable, see us as who we were, not helpful. The community that we want are the ones that, one, believe in us. And when we say, yeah, I want to do this, they say, yeah, go for it, man, you can do it. And who are stepping up in their own lives because their breakthroughs become ours. That's inspiration and powerful. And the last C is coaching. I said a little bit already. So incredibly valuable. I know I'm biased because I work as a coach and I've been employing coaches in my life for 20 something years. Incredibly valuable. There's just no way around it, though. Even with my bias, it's incredibly valuable. So if at all possible, have a good coach in your life. And again, even if it's peer-to-peer coaching. So how this works, I will tell you in a moment. But first, let's go backwards in time and see how much you have just learned in a very short period of time, right? Because we have looked at already the 7 levels of vibrancy. What does it take to create a vibrant life? We've talked about your life. We've looked at some of my heroes. What does technology mean? How do we use it in our life? The method is through the concept of being our truest, most vibrant self, and the process of creating ourselves to that, attuning ourselves to that self on a regular daily basis could be called creating self, using the magic of the document, the magic of words to declare ourself to be whoever we choose to be. Yes, forgiveness is key, and the daily process of activation is key. It's what I call the Supreme Self Sacrament. So, question for y'all is, does it make sense? Right? Do you feel like now you know more than you did about how to create yourself in your life than you did 50 minutes ago? Do you feel like it was worth your time being here? Have you learned something? And whether you've got this all mastered or not, do you have a sense now that it's within your grasp that, yeah, you can do this? In fact, it's available for everybody. Awesome. Beautiful. So here's the next step, if it's a fit for you. And I don't know if it is or not. And I guess, actually, no, I know you don't know either, but we'll get to that in a minute. What I have put together for you. Now, and again, you could take what I've shared with you, and I poured everything I can to make this as clear and impactful as possible. And you can take that and go out on your own, and you might have good success with creating it. How many of you know, though, that by having further guidance and support, having somebody on your side that's also holding you accountable, that is helping you with the stumbles, would be really helpful and powerful, right? So what I put together is a super powerful 7-week transformational training I think of as the missing owner's manual for how to create a vibrant life. I didn't get it. And I'm guessing you have practiced, you've studied, yet maybe still missing some of the key distinctions for vibrancy or how to apply them in your life. That's what you get through this program. Because a great, amazing life, it's not accidental. And you may have a lot of the pieces in place, but not got the linchpin in. And we spoke a little bit earlier about the 7 layers, the 7 pillars of vibrancy. Here's an important principle to get. All boats rise at high tide. You might want to jot that down. All boats rise at high tide. What does that mean for us? It means as you tune your frequency to your supreme self, you're going to affect every single part of your life, right? So you might say, you know what? I need a breakthrough in my career. Maybe you're a coach and you're like, I need to get 10 new clients, right? And that's your focus. Cool. But you know what? Changing your frequency, changing your being will increase the quality of relationships, of your health, of your relationship with time, right? With your finances, of course, with your sense of gratitude also. Everything is affected by using this ultimate technology and by using it specifically for you, what you want, what your challenges are. So, to that note, the way I've structured this is for your optimal success. It includes both one-to-one coaching as well as, quote, group coaching. And what that means is we start off with a one-to-one meeting, so I get the chance to know you. And by the way, if that happens, great. Either way, I'm so grateful for you that you're here, that you came, that you're interested in this, that you're learning, right? That you're taking time out of your life, especially in this busy holy days time, to say, how can I become more vibrant? You doing that, it makes a difference in your life. That's awesome. And it makes a difference in the world. So in Living the Vibration of Vibrancy, the 7-week program, we start with onboarding, figuring out what's really going on with you. I get the privilege of getting to know you, your challenges, your dreams, and then we customize the curriculum specifically for you. One-on-one coaching in a group context, what that means is we meet on a weekly basis in a small group setting, so everybody gets attention, everybody gets help with whatever's going on for them, and miraculous thing happens. It's called peer learning. And so if I'm in a conversation with Jenny about what's going on for her challenges, you might be over here and you're observing the conversation and you're thinking, that's not me. I don't have that going on. However, something suddenly clicks and you're like, ooh, that is like me, right? And because you're not on the quote hot seat, you have a different way of observing and listening. Some of the biggest breakthroughs happen that way, right? It also includes a 7-week transformational curriculum, an amazing week-by-week curriculum that are all the things you need in order to create a vibrant, thriving life, which of course you get to take in at your own pace. I already told you about the small group sessions, and the community aspect is where we get to together ask questions, share wins, celebrate each other, help each other. That's also a key part of your learning and growing, and challenges every week, right? One of which, here's one more of my heroes to share with you, Helen. She was new as a coach when she joined the program. She didn't have any clients yet. And one of the challenges, here's a spoiler alert for you, which is one of the challenges is record yourself on video. She did not want to do that. Oh man, was there resistance? Well, she was a good student. She did it. Turned out that that was a huge breakthrough for her that led her to doing more of it, which led her to filling up her coaching practice. And now living in Spain, she's one of the best coaches in the world, focusing on empowerment for women. Incredible success story she is. I won't go into detail about this, but I want to let you know, I am letting you know that this program, LVV, standing for Living the Vibration of Vibrancy, it's not accidental. It's been 28 years in the making, evolving, and the process is well proven. I'll give you the page, the URL where you can read this in detail later if you want. These are the elements that guarantee it works. I'll get to the guarantee in a moment. First, though, the investment, of course, is an important thing to know about. I have sold it before at 5,200. The price, the investment is going to go up in 2024 to 39.97. You, if you choose to move forward before the end of this year, will pay only 29.97. And I say only in comparison. I don't know where you're at financially. That might be a small amount. It might be a big amount. I hope it's a big amount, though, because then you have skin in the game. Then you are really motivated. Or if that amount does feel like it's too much for you, or you just want to get an easier cash flow, 3 payments of 1097 also possible. And if none of those feel like an option, we'll create financing for you. I've got some finance partners that are awesome. And if that doesn't even work, I will finance you myself. So if you are committed, if you know you want to do it, we will find a way. The next cohort, the next group starts at the end of January. Maximum of 20 people. I expect that it will sell out. So if you're thinking about it, you will want to take the next step, which today is not to purchase the program. You cannot. I won't let anybody purchase until I've had a conversation with them, because if I make the guarantees that I'm about to make to you, I want to be really sure that it's a good fit, right? First, though, bonuses for you if you make this commitment. One, an incredible masterclass on the art of enrollment, which might seem like it's about sales, and it is. However, it's about something much deeper than that. So is quantum time mastery, more than about productivity and time management. It's where science and spirituality intersect for a whole different relationship with time. And then my most recent program, which sold for $700 recently, the Breathe to Thrive program. It's phenomenal. Last little bit for y'all. The guarantees here are these. There are 3 of them, because I am motivated to make this as easy and frictionless as possible for you. The first is, and this may sound a little crazy, the Vibe Tribe guarantee. Again, I won't go through all the details now because I want to get to your questions. The Vibe Tribe guarantees, I'm so confident that this program will work. If you do the work and find you don't get the results, not only will I give you your money back 7 weeks later, I will give you an additional $1,000. I'll pay you more than you paid. That's how confident I am that this program works if you work it. Full details on that and the proven process are at this page, danielaaron.com/living the vibe. For Living the Vibration of Vibrancy program. You can see all the details there. Second guarantee, and this one's really key, so tune in on this, pay attention here. You cannot know right now if this program is for you because you're on the outside of it. There's no way to know. The only way you can make an informed decision is by getting the experience of it. Now, you may not be able to get the full experience. However, you can get access to the course material. You can meet with me for your onboarding session. In other words, you can join, get a full week of experience, and then if for any reason you feel like not for me, get 100% refund back. No questions asked. That way, because where you are now, you don't know, you can't know if it's a good fit, if it'll do what you want. From there, you can make an educated decision, which is why I created it that way. And then the last guarantee you already know, law of the universe. If you do nothing, things will stay the same. So I believe in rewarding the behaviors that lead to success. Decision-making is key. If you commit today, commit, meaning schedule a time for us to communicate, to have a conversation, to see if it's a fit for you. No obligation. It's an exploration both ways. I'm seeing if you're a fit for it. If you commit by the end of today, midnight Hawaii time, then I will also give you a bonus coaching session, which you can do at any time. I suggest doing it a week to a month after the program so we can see how you can best apply what you've learned, how you've adjusted into your life ongoing. That $450 rate is based on long-term one-on-one coaching with me is a $20,000 investment. So that's a real value that I'm putting in there. Also, I will send you a signed hardcover copy of my book. And again, commitment means scheduling. We can think about something, we can dream about something, we can even talk about something. It's when we schedule it that it becomes real. And if you want to do that, the page is lvv.danielaaron.com/call, right? And I will put that into the chat right now so you can have that easy access if you want it. You might want to actually just do that right now. If you're on the fence, you're thinking, yeah, this might be for me. I want to check it out. Schedule your call right now. Let's have a conversation. I've cleared space in the next couple days. We can talk about it and see. Again, no obligation. And so just to make sure it's really clear, last moment here, what this is all about, what you get if you decide you want to go forward or you want to check out and see if you want to go forward, is this complete program, 7-week transformational program. You can call it a group program customized to you, coaching one-on-one, coaching in the group, the weekly content that's amazing, the small group sessions, the community aspect of it, the challenges, right? The proven process you can read about, the investment structure. You don't pay $5,200 or $4,000. If you commit by the end of the year, it's $3,000 or the 3-pay. Or it's important to know that the next cohort starts the end of January. You can now already get started, though, with the pre-training material as well as your one-on-one session. I expect the 20 spaces will sell out soon enough. You get bonuses, the Art of Enrollment, the Quantum Time Mastery Masterclass, as well as the Breathe to Thrive full program. I told you about the guarantees. And again, you got bonuses if you make a commitment for a conversation by the end of today. That's the URL, the web address, lvv.danielaaron.com/call. And with that, I pause and say, holy moly, it's been a beautiful, amazing hour. Y'all are phenomenal for staying with this conversation. I'm so delighted to be able to connect with you, to share this information. And I know I've been speaking